Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. You are watching United TNT and today we are previewing the Manchester Derby. The 198th time these two Manchester clubs are going to meet over this weekend in the Premier League. We will deep dive into what the two teams look like currently, especially United with Michael Carrick at the dugout, his first match. How is City's form? What are the predicted lineups for both of the teams? What are the score predictions? All of this will be covered in this video. So please sit back and watch and like and subscribe as well. It doesn't get bigger than this. The game for both Manchester clubs, the Manchester Derby, is read in history. First played back in 1881 between the two, United winning that match 3-0 back in 1881. Both the clubs have seen purple patches for their games. Right now, in the last 10 to 12 years, it is Manchester City who has been dominating the derbies. Previously to that, for the last 2 decades, it was United who was getting the edge over Manchester City in these Manchester derbies. Derby Day is a special day for Manchester, be it red or blue. You are always excited for this game. These are the games that you look for the first instance when the calendar is published for the Premier League and the Champions League, hopefully down the years, because when United was at top, there was no City in Champions League. When City came on top, there was no United in the Champions League, right? So we've hardly ever played each other in the Champions League. Looking forward that we get into Champions League and we play the Manchester Derby at a European stage as well. But for now, this is the game of the weekend, City versus United. Over the last 5 matches, it's been evens on both teams, 2 wins each and a draw. The last meeting this season at the Etihad was a 3-0 win for City. United have fared well on the road more recently rather than at home. Previously to this 3-0 defeat at the Etihad Stadium, the two previous seasons, it was both 2-1 away wins for United and followed by a City win at Old Trafford and a couple of draws. Overall, if we see the record for the entirety of this Manchester Derby, City has won around 62 games, United has won around 80 games, and there have been 55 games that have been draws. So overall, United still have the edge. City has reduced the gap very quickly in the last 10 years because that's when they racked up those wins. So that's the current form. If we go back into history, both the clubs have seen different kind of ups and downs. And it has always been that one club is on the rise, the other club is on the downside of the table or the style of play and everything, right? So I still remember back in 1973-74 when United were relegated from the Premier League, it was Manchester City who had scored that goal and we got relegated. That was the best kind of revenge or a kick that the City fans could get back at time. Post that, I think the history of the club is such that there have been very few transfers within the two clubs, but the ones that happened sent shockwaves in the footballing industry and the community. The three notable names that had switched from red to blue or blue to red. First of all, it was Dennis Law, who did this back in 1960-61, where he was a City player and came to United. He is considered one of the United legends. He had around 300 plus appearances for the club, 171 goals. But then once he was ending his career, he switched to the City Blue. He played only 10 to 15 games, max 20 games for the club. But back then, a United legend going to the fiercest rivals was something that people did not take very lightly. And it was his goal that relegated United to the first division back in 73-74, right? So that was a very hard blow to Manchester United fans. Post that, it was Peter Schmeichel, one of the greatest goalkeepers in the football history, one of the greatest goalkeepers for Manchester United, and one of the greatest players for the club that has played this game. He also switched to City towards the end of his career. If you start seeing YouTube videos, you will always see that one video of Gary Neville and Peter Schmeichel coming head to head in the tunnel when they are coming out for the match. And Schmeichel wanted to shake hands with Gary Neville, but he very rudely reject that shake hand because he was switching from red to blue, which is the biggest crime in this kind of setup, and never liked that. Though they are friends now, but back then it was something that was dangerously wrong for a United player to do. And the third biggest, and I think a lot of people will know that as well because it is in the recent past, there was a hoarding that had come up in Manchester which said, "Welcome to Manchester," in a city blue, and Carlos Tevez holding his hands out and welcoming everyone. That was a statement that City had made. This was just after Sheikh Mansour had taken over the club. They wanted some marquee signings, and it was Carlos Tevez after the treble winning season with United who had switched sides to City, and rest was history, right? He was the one who got City their first title, I think the FA Cup, and they have never looked back since then, right? So the history of the derby is such that you have long standing rivalry between clubs, between players. There are families who are either a United fan or a City fan. You will hardly find any family that has both of the supporters within a family. That doesn't sit well with anyone. So, this is the game. This is the big game that we have over the weekend. I hope that we have the new manager bounce, which we will talk about in the next half of the video. The history of the derby is such that currently Wayne Rooney is the top scorer in all Manchester derbies. Right now, Erling Haaland is, I think, one goal away of matching that record and then probably overtaking that because he has racked up a lot of goals in very few matches within this derby. That's because of City's dominance lately. I'm sure that Haaland will take over Rooney as the highest scorer in Manchester derbies. The most appearances have been by Ryan Giggs, obviously because of the longevity he had in his career. These are some stats about the derby. Right? This is the 198th time both of these teams will be meeting. And let's hope that this is a United win. Looking forward to this electric game we have on the weekend. Some good news for United from the squad perspective. We have Amad Diallo and Brian Mbuemo, both back from the Africa Cup of Nations, as Cameroon and Ivory Coast have gone out of the semi-finals of the tournament. Both of these players are back, so we will have them as our squad players to be selected during this game. We also have Maguire, who has played some minutes, so he is also back. This is a time that we would want our best players to be back in the team, especially Mbuemo, who did so well before he left for the Africa Cup of Nations. He was the one who was making the team tick, be it his performances where he has scored goals or he hasn't scored goals, but he was the one who was making sure that United is moving forward in an attacking prowess. I think having him back gives us a lot of confidence. And similarly, Ahmad as well, his charisma on the ball, his pace on the attack, his forward thinking runs. I think we've been missing that over the last 6 to 7 games. They both went at a time where we did not want anything wrong to happen. They will be surprised coming back from what they left behind and gone to the AFCON to what they're coming back is something very, very different, especially with the manager changes. They will also have to adjust to the new formations the new manager will be getting into. So that is something that we will have to look once Carrick puts out his team for the derby. But having these two players back is good for United. It gives me a lot of confidence going into this, knowing that we are the ones who will be underdogs in this match, especially given City's form. So let's hope Mbuemo and Ahmad both start. I also hope that Maguire can start because we need a solid back four now, and Maguire will stabilize that defense for us. Let's hope all these three players start. So for the lineups, I think I will go for a very similar lineup that I had predicted for Darren Fletcher's last match against the Brighton, which will be a 4-2-3-1. The back four for me would be special. First, Lamans will be the goalkeeper, and then the back four will be Martinez and Maguire alongside Dorgu and Dallo. That is my preferred back four. I have a feeling that Dorgu might be dropped and Shaw might come in because he has played a lot of Manchester derbies. He has that experience. He is a veteran at the club now. Having spent so many years, I think his maturity would be needed in a match like this, right? So I think The back four should be Dorgu, Martinez, Maguire, and Dallo, but there is a slight possibility that Shaw might come in and Dorgu might be dropped. For the midfield, I will still go for Casemiro as our stronghold pivot alongside Mainu. I know I had suggested that Bruno Fernandes had to play a little deeper, but because this is the first match for Carrick and it's the acid test against Manchester City, trial by fire for him. So I would think that he would still go with Mainu and Casemiro as their pivot in the middle. And for the attacking four for me would be Fernandes as the number 10, Brian Mbuemo on the right, Sheshko on top, and Cunha on the left. I would want Dallo, Mason Mount, these two especially, Shea Lacey, who's not available for this match, but these two alongside Xerxes to be our reinforcements from the bench. So that's my predicted lineup. I still feel there will be a couple of changes that Carrick would do, which we probably are not able to predict. He also likes to play a false nine, so you might see Bruno Fernandes playing in that false nine or Cunha playing in that false nine. But that is something that we can more accurately predict once we have played the first match under Michael Carrick and what he wants to do at United. I think right now everything is conjecture and everything that is being predicted is basis everyone's gut, right? So we have to see what Michael Carrick is doing right now and then probably decide how he plays his formations going forward. So for me, that's my predicted lineup. Now, City has been in red hot form for the last two matches. A handsome win 10-1, I think, against a team in the FA Cup and a 2-0 win against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Previously to that, they have drawn three matches back to back, right? The Chelsea game, I think the Brighton game, and before that it was Bournemouth, if I'm not wrong. So three back-to-back draws. Their Premier League form is not that great, but they have been unbeaten in the last 10 matches. So City is always a threat with Erling Haaland right now in red hot form, scoring left, right, and center. He's again the top scorer in the league. He had a bit of drought in the middle, but he started scoring again from the last match, last to last match, I think. They have added Semenyo. I think he was one of the most sought after attackers this transfer window. Chelsea wanted him, Liverpool wanted him, United wanted him, but City got him because he wanted to play for City. Just moved 2 weeks back with a release clause of 69 million euros. He has definitely bolstered their squad. Haaland, Semenyo are definite threats alongside Foden, who turns up in a derby every single time. Haaland and Foden score left, right, and center in Manchester, right? So always have to be fearful of them. Ryan Diaz has been scoring goals. Ryan Shirky has been scoring goals and assisting Haaland and Foden as well. So their front four, front five is pretty scary. The only weakness that I feel City has right now is in the midfield because they have not been able to fill that gap efficiently. They do manage it in games. There are good players that they have, Nico Gonzalez for sure, but that is one gap that they have in their lineup. Alongside their defense with Ruben Diaz and Guardiola both out of their squads for the next 1 to 2 months at least, their back four will be a new back four. They will have a new back four. Nico Lewis, if I'm not wrong, will be playing. Nathan Ake will be playing. These are some names that will be in their defense. All in all, City will be a big threat with the kind of attacking power that they have. The only thing that we can capitalize on the shaky defense. So let's hope our players turn up and we give them a problem. Score predictions for this match? I don't know. Very frankly, I'm not feeling anything right now. My gut is not telling me a definitive scoreline. I want to have this feeling that United will win, and that is a feeling of a fan. But if I'm being practical, I feel this will be a draw. I don't think we have enough power to win this game. If we are able to stop City from scoring, we might get a draw. My prediction right now for this game is a 1-1 draw. However, I would want United to win this game, Michael Carrick to start strong by beating Manchester City, who are still in the race of winning the Premier League. Lately, in the last at least 5 to 10 years, every derby win that we've had is by a slim margin. It is a 1-0 win or a 2-1 win. But when City beats us, it's always a drubbing, right? A 3-0, a 4-1, a 6-3. So that doesn't sit well with me that we have to sneak in a win and City, when they win, thrash us, right? So this match, I hope we do not get thrashed. That is number one. But all in all, I would want us to hold our home turf very strongly against a strong opponent. A draw will be a very strong message for Michael Carrick starting his managerial career at United. If there is a silver lining, I would want that win for the club as well. But currently, what my feeling is that it will be a score draw 1-1. And that's what I am expecting. Let me know what your thoughts are about the Manchester Derby, the biggest game, one of the biggest games in the Premier League, especially big game for both clubs here playing tomorrow. This has been the preview for the match. I will be back with post-match reactions once the match is over. If you like my content and you feel that this resonates with you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Hoping we win the Manchester Derby. GGMU.